Did you want a pen?
Let me get a pen.
No, I'll be fine.
Okay, I'd like to call this Edinburgh Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors regular meeting to order. We do have a quorum. Roll call, we have Councilman Torres, Mr. Farias, Mayor Molina, myself, Gilbert Enriquez. Certification of public notice, Mr. Trevino.
Yes, Mr. President, this agenda was duly posted on the 19th day of October 2018 at 5 p.m. in accordance to all Open Meetings Act.
Okay, item number 3, consider approval of Board of Directors minutes for the September 25th, 2018 board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So move.
I have a motion by Mayor Molina, second by Councilman Torres. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item approved. Item number 4, presentation of monthly financial reports by Mr. Chris Vidiad, CPA. Mr. Trevino.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, members of the board, this will be our year-ending financial report for the fiscal year, and I'd like to have Mr. Vial come present that to you.
Good evening, Mr. Vidiad. Thank you for being here.
Good evening. Yes, these are the 12 months for the period ended September 30, 2018 management report. These are unaudited. So the first report we're going to talk about is the statement of cash receipts, disbursements, and cash balances for the 1 month and 12 months ended September 30, 2018. So obviously we are 100% complete. Just remember that number, the 100%, when you want to look at the percentage to date column at the second column to the right. So last month we collected total $462,000 in receipts. $438,586 came from the half-cent sales tax revenue, and the remainder came from lease payments and a little bit of sale of property. Year to date, for the year of the half-cent sales tax revenue, we collected $5.5 million. We budgeted for $5.3. So we had a good year. We went over $214,000 in collections. In other areas, the lease payments, we budgeted for $230,000 and we collected $189,000. We were a little bit short, $41,000. On the hot receivable, hotel occupancy tax receivable, we didn't collect anything there. Note receivable, collections, principal and interest from the Santana note, we were short $628,000, 50% under budget. On the cash disbursements.
Yes. Excuse me.
Yes.
Which, the 50%
We collected
deficit on the note receivable collections, what was that for?
the $5 million, $10 million notes.
For Santana?
Yes,
Okay, so we didn't collect half of what we were projecting.
correct.
Okay, so I just want the public to understand that Santana Textiles did not submit their lease payments
50%.
as required. They only submitted 50% of
Yes.
their lease payments, their
Correct.
obligation for the year.
Correct.
Now, did you project 100% collections?
That's a good question. The 1.2, is that 100%? Okay, 100%.
It is.
3,
Yes.
number 4.
But on this next budget, we're not going to
Tab
budget
4,
100%
second
collections. So I
page.
think we're going to budget like 80, 90%.
Third page,
Well, it looks like you should just budget
no.
50% because of their history.
page after this one.
Well, we can revisit that if we need to.
What were you looking at?
On the cash disbursement side, personnel expenses, last month, we spent $51,710. Year to date, we spent $491,000, and we budgeted $506,000. So favorable by $15,000. Operating expenses, last month we spent $15,372. If you look at the total on the subtotal, year to date, we spent $352,000, and we budgeted $408,000. So we're about 86% of the budget. Maintenance expense, we spent $2,100 last month. For the year, $25,000. We budgeted $33,800. So favorable by $8,478. Marketing expense. Last month, we spent $12,484. We spent for the year $291,000, and we budgeted $300,000. So we're favorable by $8,000. Contractual services. Last month, we spent $6,500. For the year, we spent $141,613, and we budgeted $139,000. So unfavorable by $2,498. 102%. Developmental expenditures. Last month, we spent $11,300. We spent for the year $1,162,000, and we budgeted for $3.2 million. So you can see we're highly favorable by $2,092,000. Capital outlay, last month we spent $250. We spent for the year $11,000. We budgeted $20,000. Favorable by $8,000. And the EEDC properties, which is going to be property taxes and debt service. Last month, we spent $86,000 on the arena bond shortage and the Texas Comptroller sales tax reimbursement. For the year in total, we spent $2,017,000. We budgeted for $2,025,000, and we're only short there because of property taxes.
Okay, let's go back to
Okay.
the EEDC properties.
Sure.
You mentioned the arena bonds shortage,
The-
$415,000 for the year. So that means that the taxpayer had to pay $415,000 just to make the payment on the bond, because there was a shortfall. We didn't receive enough property tax, sales tax, and those TERS zones to pay for the payment.
Correct.
Correct.
Joey,
that
you want to
correct?
add
Yes,
anything in
that's
there?
correct.
Okay.
Okay. So the public needs to understand that when we have a Councilman Hassel that says that this is a great thing for our city, that it's producing economic development, it hasn't yet. We're in the deficit $415,000 from
this
just the
last fiscal year.
EDC,
Yes, sir.
just from the EDC. Doesn't include the city's portion of it.
Correct, right. And we're pretty much backstopping that at this point.
Okay.
Do we know the city's portion on that?
Well, it's based on the sales tax and the ad valorem tax, but we're working with the previous finance director, so now we're getting the new portion. But there were some amounts from the Walmart area and the TERS that we hadn't collected, so there's still some work we're going to be getting.
So it's more than this amount that we've already paid?
Probably in the past year, too.
I've got a question concerning the Parks and Rec bond. That's 530. How many more payments, or how many more years do we have on that?
I think Nelda would have a better answer to that one.
We have a 2022 we have on those bond payments, yes.
2022.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we got 4 more years,
Yes.
$2 million more.
Any questions about the debt service, property taxes?
What about Ebony?
Ebony?
It's the same.
Is that the last payment on Ebony?
No, we're still paying that until
2022?
2022. Yeah, 2022. That's just, the city has paid their portion, the EDC is paying their portion still. That's why we can't, there was some,
The EDC just owes until 2021 or 22?
22.
22.
I also like to point out, this is just a debt service, this isn't a maintenance.
Correct.
So above and beyond the debt service, we have the maintenance
That the city pays for, yes, sir.
that the city pays.
One little good nugget, we only have 1 year left of the Texas Comptroller sales tax reimbursement of $33,000 next year.
Say that again?
Yeah, that comes
We only
from,
have 4 more payments of the,
this
of the
was
eight- of the
a
8,300.
Yeah, that comptroller sales tax was an area that was thought to be annexed in the past, and we were collecting sales tax, but it was not actually in the city, so we had to reimburse the state for that.
So we just have 1 more year of that.
Okay. Continue.
Okay. So reserve for contingency, nothing there. That $13,000 negative amount is just a discovery of a reconciliation of unclear checks that were not, that were duplicated. So that was just extra money that we found there in the books. So overall, increase in cash for the month of last month was $276,000. For the year, $1,863,729 that we either had an inflow in cash or we saved in expenditures. And we only budgeted for $276,000. So I commend on the operations for doing a good job and being lean and mean as far as our expenses. Good job. So we started out with cash for the year of $4.2 million, and as of September 30 on our books, we had $6,142,677. The next section right there you see on the cash accounts, kind of want to break down what that $6 million means. You'll see the very top line, the PCB operating, that's the unrestricted account, and we use that for operations. The remaining accounts are restricted for debt service and what have you. Okay.
So just to be clear, 727 and down are all restricted.
They're all restricted.
Okay, so those are not, we are not allowed to touch that for any operations or new infrastructure or
Until
new incentive packages or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Are any of those that are restricted coming up to be available?
We already had made that transfer, right? We had shifted some money up. I think it's going to be next year, right?
Yeah, it'd be for this next budget
Yeah,
session.
next couple of months.
Okay,
We're going to be doing that.
thank you.
Okay, and the next report is a bird's eye view of the month to month. I'm not going to go over that, but if you want me to go over that, I can.
No, it's okay.
Okay. The next page is going to be the statement of net assets. It's our assets, our liabilities, and our fund balance. Again, we just talked about the cash. You'll see there on our assets section, the first page, the midsection, you'll see total bank accounts, $6,142,677. It ties back to the report that we were just talking about. Our accounts receivable balance is $347,000. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And of course, you have your other assets. You have buildings, furniture, land, cumulative depreciation at $8.9 million. And other assets are going to be your note receivables and a audit accrual of $61,000 for deferred outflow with pension. Okay. The next page is going to be the liabilities. Our current liabilities, the $808,000 is what we're going to owe next year in the next 12 months, as far as the principal portion of debt, not the interest, just the principal portion. Long-term liabilities, $17 million are going to be paid after next year. Okay? And then the $10 million is fund balance that you see in the next section on total equity. That's your net assets right there. Any questions about your balance sheets, net assets? Okay. The next page is going to be the accounts receivable aging summary. You go to the very far right, the total column down, $347,000 rounded. It ties back to the statement of net assets I just spoke of. And you'll see a breakdown of who owes us money. You'll see Ariel Martinez. The next couple accounts, Alimentos, Nuco Tool, and Santana Textiles. And I guess the one that the biggest two are going to be the Nuco Tool and the Santana Textiles. You'll see on the Santana Textiles, they're past due, as of September 30, past due 3 months of payments. The first two to the far right, the $75,824 were based on the old debt restructuring. The $86,000 is based on the new debt restructuring. Okay? And as of today, I don't think they've paid any of that yet.
So explain to me why it's only 238 on the receivable side, and on the revenue side, it's 628 difference. That difference, 628 and 238, where is it?
Keep in mind, though, on the statement of net assets, on the statement of cash receipts, is a cash flow. Okay, so if we go back to that report, you're mentioning $600,000, $617,000. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
No, well,
For
the
the,
difference between what we budgeted as revenue for the collections of the note,
Well, that's just based against the budget.
what's that?
That's just based
This
against
is just on
the
the
budget
budget-wise.
itself.
Right.
Okay. So
Right.
And that includes
But which-
also interest. Well,
What's that?
this does too.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, so
I think,
hold on, let me ask my question,
Okay.
so maybe I'm not asking it correctly. So you have an annual budget that, or we had an approved annual budget of a notes receivable for Santana at $1.2 million. Out of
I understand.
Out of that $1.2 million.
That's a very good question. I will have to analyze that further and maybe send you an email or expand that further.
I want to
Unless-
say, Nelda,
Unless Nelda can
there
answer
was-
that.
Santana, at last year's budget, I think they were deferred. They had another deferral agreement at the beginning of last budget session. Is that correct? And that's why?
Yes, they did, and just to go back on the statement of cash receipts, the 1.2 million that was budgeted was based on the $100,000 payments when we approved the budget last September. And then the note change, remember, and so the decreased monthly amount was reduced, and their first payment wasn't due until November. So we had a couple of payments plus the reduced amount, so it doesn't add up to the 1.2 million. So really, the 50% that they've paid us is based on the budgeted amount of the higher payment, if that makes sense.
Right, but okay, so then what should have happened was when we amended the budget, when this new elected board came on, we should have amended, we should have amended that notes receivable to reflect
The reduced amount.
the reduced amount
Right,
and the differences of the transition from one year to the other.
right.
So why wasn't that, I know you weren't here, so, well, you weren't here either.
I think that was
So
overlooked
why
when we
wasn't
were,
that
when we
done?
were, I think that was overlooked because we were concentrating on the expenses at that time. Remember, we were looking at all of the expenses and reducing that, and I think that 1.2 million just remained on there.
Okay.
Were any of the revenue items reduced or amended?
I don't think any of the revenue items were reduced.
No, not even the hot receivable, if you recall, we didn't even reduce that one.
Okay. I thought we had done I remember saying that, asking the question about one of these items in the revenue that we weren't going to receive, that we weren't going to collect, and I asked, well, why is it in there if we know we're not going to collect it?
Yeah, I remember the discussion came up on the hot receivable.
Do you remember that, Mr. Farias?
Yes, sir, I do.
As to why it was included, if the legislation hadn't been passed. If you recall, it was tied back to an interlocal agreement with the city and the reimbursement from the hot tax to the EEDC for the soccer parks. But it became one of those discussion items that everybody started looking into, and it never got reduced or taken away from the revenue side. It didn't get amended.
Okay.
No.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
That's a good catch. And then there's no outstanding accounts payable after that. Any other questions?
Any questions?
I have some questions. I just want to stress to the public that and we got to bring this up because it's obviously an iceberg that we're headed to with Santana. They haven't given their payments in 3 months. We're also in debt for this bad deal that was made from the previous administration for this. And if you look here, we're looking at basically $628,977. Is that the amount that is owed to us? Do they owe us that amount?
They owe us, if you look at the accounts receivable aging summary schedule that we just spoke of, they're past due $238,000.
But I was also looking at the year-to-date, the $617,000.
That's what we're just talking about.
Okay, that's the same
So
thing you
we
were
just
talking
need to
about?
adjust
Yeah,
that amount.
Yeah.
We didn't adjust it, when we
It was-
amended the budget back in December, when the new elected board came in, we only adjusted or modified the expenses. We didn't go back and modify any of the revenue, which at that time we should have, so we could reflect an actual amount. So the amount is really the $300,000, or the 238 that they owe, which is still a significant amount, which I believe is how many months? 4 months?
4 months, and
4
they're
months?
asking for another 4.
I also want to add, this is the amount that we still owe on that Santana loan. is it $13,377,700? Is that
Out of the 15 total, yes.
out of the 15 million so just so the public understands, and I know we have a new city manager that's here, I want to explain this to him. The EDC with the previous mayor that was the chair here acted like a bank and turned around and lent a private company $15 million. And since then, now they're defaulting on the payment, and this is one of the arguments that I had, because he tried to lie to the public and tell them that it was flying high and that all these jobs were going to come. And every time I went over there, they were dropping in employees. Are they open at all, Joey?
Yes, sir.
How many people do they
They're
employ?
at 20% capacity.
Yes, sir.
They're at
They're
20%
supposed to be
capacity.
800, but they're not at 800, barely 100. And their last...
They have 100 people working there?
Less than
At
100.
their last
Less than
correspondence
100.
to me, they're telling me they're at 100.
So that's 10% capacity at 800, which they're supposed to be at.
But they're operating in terms of their operations at capacity of producing denim at 20%.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when this thing falls and it cracks and crumbles, they're going to blame us. And we didn't have anything to do with this. We're just inheriting this and trying to deal with it the best that we can. So that's why I want to be very, very vocal about it, so that the public that's listening at home or online, that they're going to try to plant this bad deal on us, and we had absolutely nothing at all to do with it. So I just want to continue to repeat that so that you know, and we'll try to see how we can find some type of solution. So
Yes, sir.
just want to bring that up because I know what's coming. I know the games that they play, and I know they're going to say that this is all us and that it's a failure because of us, when in fact this thing was going down way before we even took office. So wanted to add that.
Any other questions?
Just real quick about Mr. Real. He's come aboard back in, May, June? Has been
About
doing monthly
3 or 4 months ago.
board meetings with us. Initially, we had asked him to come every board meeting until the new budget was passed. It's up to you if you'd like them to continue monthly reporting or quarterly. How would you want me to?
I would like for him to at least produce it monthly, but only attend the meetings quarterly.
I prefer to produce monthly because it's easier for me on the accounting standpoint to be on top of things.
And we can handle the.
And I would like for you to stay abreast of what's going on as well, especially with all the other, especially with the Santana note. And I think, working closely with Neldo, and we changed the chart of accounts to reflect the new budget. So I want to make sure that looks well too.
Right. So I think you coming quarterly at the end of each quarter and giving a quarterly report would work.
If I'm going to come quarterly, do you still want, I guess that bird's eye or that month-to-month report would be a good analysis for you to see what happened on each month?
I think, and then staff, we can provide that information to the board, and then we can reconcile on every quarter.
Okay. So then on the quarterly report, you're still going to want to see the current month and the year-to-date, or you're going to want to see a quarter-to-date?
Quarter to date.
Okay,
Yeah, because we'll be receiving
Okay.
the month-to-month.
yes,
So a quarter to date.
Okay.
And I would like for you to be here the month after the quarter. So the
Okay.
4th month, the 8th month, so on and so forth.
got it. All right, well, thank you. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
no, thank you for doing a great job, Mr. Vidal. I
Appreciate that.
appreciate it.
It's my honor. Thanks.
All right, agenda item number 5, discuss and consider approval of professional service contract with Norton Rose Fulbright U.S. LLP for bond counsel services. Mr. Trevino?
Mr. President, members of the board, I'm speaking with Chris Vela from, First Southwest, I still call him, in our financing for El Tule and the Resource Center and Capable Kids. We had budgeted some monies for architectural and engineering services in our budget. There are finding our new financing direction, and will be presenting something to us in the next month or two. But he indicated that we probably need our bond counsel to develop a reimbursement resolution. That way we get paid back whatever we start funding our our design team for these projects. We really don't, we had previous bond counsel, Tom Spurgeons. I think we reached out to Mr. Honor Cantu. He's here today to make a presentation. He's an Edinburgh native, and he gave us this proposal, and I have this before you to consider to initiate a contract with them, and he's here to present the proposal to you.
Mr. Cantu, thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, Mayor, Directors, again, for the record, my name is Arnoldo Cantu. I'm an attorney at Norton Rose Fulbright in San Antonio. To speak shortly about our experience, I'm not exactly an Edinburgh native, born and raised on Alamo Road in Eldora, so pretty close.
Pretty close. We'll annex that area.
Again, I'm just the tip of the spear. We have in our San Antonio office alone 5 lawyers dedicated specifically to public finance. Our most senior attorney has about 33 years. Our practice group leader has about 23 years of experience. And we have 2 specialized tax counsels in-house, as well as specialists in Houston, Dallas, Austin, Washington, D.C., and across the USA. So just from the little I've heard right now, it seems like the first responsibility would be to do a deep dive into the prior bond documents with these other issuers that you've done, just to see what covenants are restricting.
Deep dive.
It's all part of our job. And so, again, Chris Vela has worked closely with me at the City of San Juan, at Hidalgo ISD, and other issuers. I know him well, I know his work, and I can vouch for him, and I'm honored to be a part of his team. So, again, if there's any questions you have for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Mr. Cantu, what's the largest bond that you all have sold or been part of?
The largest bond, single bond, probably in the range of about $500 million.
$500 million?
Now, the thing is, our major clients in San Antonio would be the City of San Antonio, San Antonio Water System, CPS Energy, and it's not uncommon for them to do suites, multiple issuances of several series of bonds in a par amount of $2 billion or more. So we've done a fair number. I mean, we represent the City of Austin, Houston as well. Then again, we've also done deals for the city of Wink, Texas, out in West Texas, population less than 1,000, and we've helped them on a $100,000 tax note, which, every single dollar that they're issuing is just as important to them as every dollar that's being issued by the city of San Antonio, and so you need to keep that in mind, is that it doesn't matter how big or small the deal is, the important thing is constant communication and making sure that, leadership and staff feel comfortable with the direction they're taking.
So would you be the point of contact for your firm for this particular bond issuance?
Yes, sir. I will be the first point of contact, the person that picks up the phone, answers the emails. That's not to say I'm the only person working on this. Again, we've got a team of 5 lawyers in-house with 2 tax attorneys and support from other offices across the state.
And the fee schedule that you submitted just I guess, today, a little
Yes,
while
sir.
ago, I'm assuming all these fees are negotiable, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. And I believe I spoke with Mr. Trevino. I think we're going to lower the price a little on an introductory basis. I want to make sure that, I don't like to look at clients as customers. I mean, what's really more important to me is that we build a trust relationship, and, this is an opportunity for the board to, I won't say try us out, but to feel confident that they're getting their money's worth, so.
Well, one thing that I can say that what I'm looking for in a bond counsel is someone that's going to tell us the truth, someone that's going to be upfront, transparent, that isn't going to just tell us what we want to hear, but what the truth is. I believe that's the only way we can make a sound decision, and for the public and for our taxpayer to understand truly where their tax dollars are being spent. So that's what I look for in any relationship that we contract with any individual or firm, because I believe true transparency is the key to progression and for growth and for for all honesty. And so that's exactly what I'm looking for. And I've only heard good things about you and your firm from people that I've contacted. So thank you for submitting. Appreciate the time and the effort that you did to provide your qualifications to us. And again, we'll discuss it among here and see what the board decides to how to move forward. Okay?
Is he
Any
gonna-
other questions?
Yes, is he going to be available for specific questions having to do in closed session for legal things that,
I
As
believe,
an attorney, yes. he
I
would do it.
believe, yes.
Once he's
Okay.
engaged.
Once he's engaged, right?
once he's engaged?
Right.
Okay. I had an experience with somebody that was doing some business for another entity that I sit on, and the excuse I got from them is that there isn't too much low-hanging fruit available anymore. And my response to him is, I'm not looking for somebody to get low-hanging fruit. I need somebody that can dig to the roots if they have to find and get what we deserve. So, obviously, when the mayor said very deep, we're talking very deep. So, I've read your experience, I've seen qualifications, and I'm excited that we're negotiating and speaking with you concerning that. So,
Great.
let's see what we can work out.
Thank you, and I'll just reiterate, I mean, it's a team effort. I know your financial advisor well. I know that the things you're looking for in a bond counsel, most likely also the things you're looking for in a financial advisor, and I can vouch for his efforts there. It's a three-part team, right? The financial advisor, bond counsel, and staff need to work together, and like you said, transparency is always important, so I think I can agree with your philosophy.
All right, appreciate it, Mr. Cantu. Any other comments or questions?
Has this rate already been negotiated, Joey?
No, we will sit down and negotiate, and we'll bring it back to you for approval.
I heard he was having a 50% off sale. That true?
About
We'll
close
work
to it,
on that.
yeah.
We'll work
We'll
on
see
that.
how great of a negotiator Joey is.
No pressure.
I just want to mention that you were also in the running for the city bond council. You've shown great interest in trying to help or be part of the team or give us information. So I'm glad you're here at the EDC. Why? Yeah, as long as we can negotiate.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve Joey to negotiate a contract that he feels comfortable with.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Molina, second by Councilman Torres. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Cantu.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Item 6, discuss and consider amending the small business renovation and improvement policy. Mr. Trevino.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, I've attached our small business renovation improvement policy to expand on our 5 and 10 to also include a signage grant and grants for businesses and nonprofits. And this is just for discussion. I just wanted to bring this up. We've had some applicants try to come in and ask for signage only. They really don't fall into the 5 and 10 because they're not a retail establishment, and they haven't been in business for 5 years. But I think it's important that first impressions are in the city when you come in and you see dilapidated signs around on existing businesses, that we have an opportunity to get these businesses up to date and their signages, their sign program, and I'm proposing $1,500 sign grant if they fall into the requirements that we have before them on this program. And then also, we also get a lot of requests. The nonprofit organizations, they don't do any sales tax. They do employ a few people, but it's a community service portion of this, and it's the same thing, up to 50% of the total cost, not to exceed $1,500, and it's a reimbursement type of program, just like the sign grant. And I wanted to get your take on that. if we can start to implement that. If not, other discussion on how we can accommodate some of these applicants that come to us.
Okay, so just so I can understand, this signage grant
Yes, sir.
is for every business, profit or nonprofit.
Correct.
They're eligible if they meet the criteria that you've established.
They meet the criteria. They abide by all city ordinances as far as, permits and developing, their signs according to ordinances in the city.
Right.
If their signs are dilapidated, they're falling apart, or, again, this is an opportunity to clean up, parts of the business district that have old signs, and I know you've probably seen them across town. And just another opportunity. I've researched this, and I've looked at other communities that have this similar grant program, other EDCs that push this.
So is this just for existing businesses? Because I know that sometimes new businesses come in and they ask us to help them out with landscaping, parking lots, signage. So is this gonna be a supplement to that type of signage incentive, or is this gonna eliminate that signage incentive and everybody's gonna have to follow the 1,500 maximum?
Well, we can include both. As it is now, I'm including existing businesses, but I'll take the direction of the board, and if you want to include new businesses, or just a,
Well,
whatever you decide.
my opinion, again, and this is just my opinion, that if you're gonna do one, you gotta do it for all new and existing, because it's not, in my opinion, fair that because you started a business later, you're eligible for a higher amount for signage versus an existing business that's been here, 10 years or 5 years or whatever, and contributing to the property and sales tax, but yet you're only eligible for $1,500. So I would like to stay consistent, either it being $1,500, $3,000, or what have you, the amount, but I think it needs to be consistent throughout for new and existing businesses. At least that's my suggestion.
Mr. Trevino, what budget do you have in mind to cover? Because, like, for example, I mean, I wouldn't do this, but my business qualifies. It doesn't do sales tax. It's service, and it's older, and it does need. I can't ever seem to put in my personal budget to fix my sign, because we're trying to survive and pay payroll and so forth, and taxes. But there's a lot of businesses out there that qualify for this. I mean, extremely. I'm one of them, and there's a whole bunch that are going to be buzzing our phones and ringing them off the wall. What are you proposing, or what are you?
We could start a pilot program, or just like we did the small business incentive program for the 5 and 10, 150,000. That's $1,500, each.
So that's
but
100 businesses.
100 businesses.
So basically, you're saying you'll put a cap each year.
We can put a cap every
Whoever,
year.
it's a first come, first serve application
Right,
process.
and this would be a reimbursement too, Councilman, because some businesses they'll have to put it in, they abide by all the ordinances and have it installed professionally, and then we inspect it and then reimburse them for that amount.
You put this in your budget that we just passed?
We have it in our business retention budget. We can take it out of there. We can put a smaller cap and do a little pilot program if that's the case. It's up to you. I'm bringing it before you.
I don't want to single out anybody, because a lot of people are going to qualify for this. Almost all businesses all over town, and there's a lot of signs all over town. And so, I do want to help the community.
We can be very specific also on types of sign size or on the buildings. I can do a little bit more research on this. It can't be a fly-by-night type of sign. It's got to be.
Yeah, there's a lot that we really need to think this through.
Yeah.
So
Because
what's the criteria that you've set so far? Or have you set one?
Well, I was trying to get direction from you guys first, and then we can go forward, and I can do a little bit more
Well,
expansion on
I
this.
agree with Councilman Torres that, you know, we need to evaluate it a little bit more, come back with some criteria that we can review and see, and then make any changes or suggestions at that point. But all I say is that my opinion is we need to be consistent. We need to be fair, we need to be consistent with all the businesses.
New and existing
New and
businesses.
existing, whether we set the parameters and the criteria for qualification, but we got to be consistent.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like to make sure that it's known, like for transparency, that none of us up here are gonna qualify for this. I won't apply, you know, because that's what they're gonna say. So, you know, I have nothing to do with this. I do wanna help, but there's a possibility of spending a lot of money, you know, which you're maybe not prepared to do. Better just look into it.
I'll bring that back with some more information for you.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And I guess the main focus from what I hear from the council, from the board, is that there has to be a cap
Yes.
each year.
Yes.
It can't be open. There has to be a cap.
So no action on this one?
No action. Okay, so you'll bring some more information on
Yes,
this?
sir.
All right. Okay, item number 7.
I'd like to pull
What's
that.
Item
Item
number,
number
yeah, item number 7 is pulled. Okay. Number 8, discuss and consider approving a small business lease program. Mr. Trevino?
Yes, Mr. President, and members of the board. Right now, we do have a lease program on some of our buildings that we own. We have lease space in different, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10 buildings that we own, or 10 offices that we own. Right now, our lease rates are real below market value. We have attached a market study on office space and rental rates. I just wanted to get some, right now, all of our leases are month to month, and develop a schedule, and we have some offices in the building in our Renaissance that are empty, and we want to be able to start advertising and encouraging some small businesses to start renting these, but we'd like to have a consistent market, or maybe just below market, to incentivize some new businesses to start up in those areas. And then also, since we have the existing businesses at a low rate, to bring them up to that specific lease rate.
Mr. Trevino, on
Yes,
those
sir.
10 buildings, could you read me the amounts?
Okay, the Rogali building in the 1710 Industrial Boulevard, that's about 6,900 square feet.
I just need
The lease rate,
yes,
the existing lease rate
yes,
is 40 cents,
40 cents.
yes,
Okay.
square foot.
Next?
And it's warehouse and office.
Okay.
And so the market rate is 45. The DNR position is 33 cents a square foot, and the market rate is 45 on that one.
Okay.
Office space, let's see, we can go to the Macario Semiconductor, it's 75 cents
Mhm.
right now. It's a market rate at $1.32.
$1.30.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's the low market value.
Yes,
Okay. So we're at 50% of the market.
correct.
Okay. So how do we compare with the other ones? Are we at about 50%?
Pretty much the same all throughout the,
Okay.
except for the.
So
you know-
we're way below market
Right.
value as far as the
So,
and they're on a month-to-month, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we can go ahead and restructure these leases?
Yes, sir. To the
Without any
market.
problem?
Yes, sir.
Legal?
Yes.
Okay.
So long as, yeah, we are month to month. If they're on a term, then when that term ends, then you can renegotiate that.
Okay. I think all of them are month-to-month. I think.
Yes, yes, sir.
All right.
And so we do have some additional space that's open, and we would like to get our Mr. Balderas in that group in outreach. He's had some people interested in some new startup companies, startup offices, and so we can do that at an average market rate.
Of all the current leasees that we have, the majority of them have been in those buildings for quite some time, correct?
Yes, sir.
So initially lowering the cost to bring them in,
Time for them.
it's time for them to,
Yes,
to pay market.
I believe so.
okay. All right. So is this for approval?
I think we'd get approval just to add, to allow staff to release rate at average market rates and update our existing leases at the same time.
Okay, so do I have a motion to revise our monthly square foot lease rate and modify any lease agreements that are month to month?
Yes, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mr. Farias. Second by Councilman Torres. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 9,
I'd like to pull that also.
pull that.
Thank you.
Item 10. Item 11, do I have a motion to enter executive session?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Molina, second by Councilman Torres. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mr. Vela, time is 6:47.
At this time, the EDC Board will convene into executive session in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, exceptions to requirements that meetings be open to deliberate upon the following sections. Section 551.071, consultation with attorney. Section 551.072, deliberations regarding real property. Section 551.074, personnel matters. And Section 551.087, deliberations regarding economic development negotiations.
All right, thank you. Hey, Mr. Farias, all those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. For the record, no action was taken on the items discussed in executive session. Time is 9:38 p.m. Item 12, we have, or you know what, let's go with item number 11, Executive Director's Report.
Real quick, Mr. President, I just want to give you the sales tax report for last month, a 9.85% increase from this time last year.
Nice.
1.8 million from 1.6 million, and then an increase year-to-date, 7.41% from 18,632,000 from last year to, from this year to last year was 1.7346. So we did real well for the whole year on sales tax, and hopefully it's going to be continuing. Our unemployment rate figures September 4.7. From August is 5.0, and then 2017 it was 6.0, so we went down. So we're good on employment rate. I just wanted to touch base. November 15th and the 16th, we had signed up for the TML EDC conference. The mayor, Councilman Enriquez, Councilman Torres, myself, and we'll be going. So
When
put that
is
on the 15th and 16th of November in Bastrop, the EDC TML.
November 16th and 17th?
15th and 16th. And our attorney might be coming too. Mr. Frias, I researched it. We sent emails out. You never replied that you wanted to go. Mr. Frias didn't reply, so.
Is there room on the bus?
We'll try. I think we have an opportunity, but, I'll talk to you about that later. Again, we'll put that on the agenda. That's it for my report.
So that
right
would,
now.
so that's a Friday and a Saturday?
No, 15th and 16th, that's Thursday,
Oh,
Friday.
15th and 16th, not 16th and 17th.
So we flying?
In Bastrop, it's close to the airport in Austin. So I just wanted to make that reminder for you.
But we're flying into Austin or what?
We can fly, we can drive. Up to you guys.
I'm driving. I don't fly.
It's only 4 hours.
Yep, let's drive.
Right, for the drive.
Other than that, that's my report for this month.
Okay, item 12J. Deliberate and possible action regarding the development agreement with Klausner Properties LLC. Mr. Trevino?
We're to instruct the attorney to proceed as directed in the executive session. A motion?
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Molina, second by Mr. Farias. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item approved. Letter K, deliberate the contractual obligations with Santana Textiles LLC. Mr. Trevino?
Yes, if we can direct the attorney to proceed as directed in executive session.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
I have a motion by Mr. Farias.
Second.
Second by Councilman Torres. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So move.
Motion by Mayor Molina.
Second.
Second by Mr. Farias. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Time is 9:42 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.